Hey guys, and welcome to this week's property news. So this week, I mean, it's an amazing thing, and I'll keep the same theme as the other week, where there's so much negativity about that. If you believe it, you'll miss all the actual positive stuff that is there. And I think this is a classic example. If we go to the Express, and you know what, I tend to go to the Express if I want to find out what negative there is in the market, and some of the stuff I really don't understand what they're saying, because, for instance, there's this one. Property news, crash predicted by experts would see house prices drop to £70,000. It's like, what? £70,000? Predicted by experts. And so I'm sitting there going, where are these experts? Experts. There's no mention of any experts. Experts are claiming they're saying experts all around. There's actually no defining of any experts in this article whatsoever, except for this. Property news predicts market crash could see house prices drop 70,000. Now hold on. So drop to 70,000 or drop 70,000? Well, actually, when they do the numbers, it's not drop to 70,000. I mean, it's just misleading rubbish, And look, could they? Yeah, they could. But the question is that a £70,000 house that's now an £80,000 house? Was it a £100,000 house? Was it at the average 200 and whatever £1,000 house? Just rubbish, And so you've got to be really careful about reading headlines. And that's one of the things, when you know what media outlets you're looking at, you know whether to sort of be a bit, don't take them on face value. You then go into another one. Mortgage lending falls to 15-month low. It's like, oh my goodness, this is in July. And fair enough, mortgage lending is falling. So they're actually, can't find who it was here that said this, but basically mortgage lending is falling and things are slowing down. There's no doubt about that. The market isn't as active as it was, okay? Now, interestingly, where is the market slowing down? Because actually, if a lot of the places that I'm looking at now, and remember, what we're selling now may not be exactly where we're looking now. We start to look 3 to 6, 12 months out and start building those relationships and start getting in there with developers. And that way you get a sort of sense for where the market is going as opposed to where it has been. And that's one of the key things I think here is, this news is all about what's happened, not what is going to happen, okay? So they're basically saying mortgage lending is falling, and the impression is that, well, if it's falling, then for it's going to continue to fall. That's not the case, okay? So, it's interesting. I wrote an article today, and basically what it was, why London will astound again. And the whole basis of this argument is people are running around saying, oh, London, terrible, going to crash, terrible. It's got the best fundamentals in the world, There's no better country that I've found anywhere, and even with all these changes. But yet, we somehow think that because the normal market shifts and changes, all of a sudden, oh no, that's a terrible place to invest. Now, I'm not saying buy anywhere. I'm not saying be stupid about it. But what I am saying is London has some of the best fundamentals in the world. It's interesting. I sat at 2 dinners over the last week. One dinner I sat with a guy who basically told me how terrible London was, and London lost its thing, and Brexit was going to destroy the whole country, and you might as well write off the whole country. And I was like, I shut up. I just didn't say anything because you can't really argue with that, that sort of thing. Then I went to another dinner where a similar, actually a lot more, I would say, educated guy said to me, he's buying in London now. He's jumping into London. We've been talking about doing business there. Why? Because he sees the opportunity and what's been happening over the last few years, which is exactly what I've been seeing. House prices in London have come off over the last 2 years, and what I've seen in the last sort of 3-6 months is they've started to even out, okay, which is great news. Nationwide, house prices rose for the second month in a row in July after falling March. And what? They're rising? House prices are rising according to March. It's like, on the one hand, we're saying we're going to get 70% drop, on another hand, we're saying they're rising still. What's happening to house prices a year after Brexit vote and 10 years after the financial crisis? London house prices remains subdued. They do, absolutely, since Brexit. But the longer term picture is very buoyant. And it is. There's so many good things happening. Fundamentals are changing. Money's getting spent. Crossrail, all these sort of things are happening. And that's the stuff that you need to ride the coattails of. Yeah. Interestingly, and this is an article we wrote about, but a step on the ladder, but at what cost? Micro homes the size of prison cells, with even some even smaller than car parking space being built in record numbers. And this is a trend. This will continue. Why? Because cities are moving up, they're getting higher, and places are getting small. In Singapore, we talk about Mickey Mouse House, or Mickey Mouse Apartments. That is coming worldwide, because obviously as the population moves into the center, in order to keep prices down, you're going to squeeze the size, more square footage or less square footage for you to live there. So, unfortunately, you can sit here and you can say, I don't want that, I want a big apartment. But the reality is what you'll probably end up with and what you'll be is squeezed further and further down. So my advice is, if you're going to choose to rent for the rest of your life, you're going to be the market's bitch. Excuse the French. You are going to be beholden to the market. Get on the property ladder and secure a property now, and that way you own it, and that way you get to choose where you live, all right? It's absolutely key. All of this smoke and mirrors about tax changes and Brexit and all that sort of stuff, that's just serving to keep you poor. Be one of the people that owns property, not one of the people that rents it. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't live in a place that you rent. By all means do that, but make sure you're investing and make sure you got your portfolio building and you continue to build, But there's a good article on our website about that on micro apartments. Also, it's interesting, I find, because one of the things I mentioned is we try and get ahead of the market. Liverpool, Manchester have been great cities. They've been performing quite well in terms of price growth. All the units getting sapped up by international investors, by locals, all that. It's interesting that actually then you go to Leeds. Now, this is a secondary city, but a northern powerhouse city. It's a legal and financial hub. There's lots and lots of good things going for it. And once that's starting to pick up, so we're starting to look in there now, because what you'll find in a year, 2 years, all of a sudden Leeds will be the place to invest, but we'll already be in there. And this is what we're doing. So, have a look on, and Mabgate in Leeds. It's a great investment, great opportunity, regeneration in that area. Now, lots and lots of people have negative things to say because the market hasn't taken off yet. But then again, if you go across the whole of the UK, if you're going to invest only where it's taken off, you will miss that. You want to get ahead of the curve, and then you'll see that growth. And look, guys, finally what I want to do was just introduce you to the Academy page, If you haven't had a look at it, get on it and have a look, Once you're signed in, this will become the homepage of the website. It's constantly updated. We're constantly writing, I constantly write articles. We're doing videos. We're doing all sorts of things. If you want to know where the property market's at, get on there and have a look at it. All right, guys, have a great day. Live with passion.